Daniel lived in a small town where everyone seemed to know everyone. The streets were quiet, lined with old trees that swayed gently in the evening wind. Life in the town moved slowly, like the hands of a clock in an empty room. People went about their days with little excitement, and Daniel often felt the same emptiness in his heart. He was a young man with a quiet spirit. He loved books, music, and most of all the stars. Ever since he was a child, he would lie on the soft grass outside his house at night staring at the vast sky. To him, the stars were not just distant balls of fire. They were doors to another world, a world filled with possibilities. Sometimes he imagined meeting someone from those faraway places, someone unlike anyone he had ever known. Daniel's friends were kind but ordinary. They talked about school, sports, and local gossip. Daniel would listen politely, but his mind often wandered to the stars. He longed for something more, a spark that could make his life feel alive. Every night he would climb the small hill behind his house carrying his old telescope and set it up on the soft grass. He loved watching planets move slowly across the sky, and sometimes he imagined that the stars were listening to him, understanding his dreams. It was on one such night, a night that seemed ordinary, that something unusual happened. Daniel had walked up the hill, the grass cool beneath his feet, and set up his telescope. The sky was clear, filled with shining stars that seemed to wink at him as if sharing a secret. The town below was quiet. The only sound was the gentle rustling of leaves in the wind. Daniel adjusted his telescope, focusing on the brightest star he could see. He had always loved Orion's belt, and tonight it seemed to shine even more brightly than usual. But then, as he scanned the sky, he noticed a light that did not belong. It was soft and glowing, moving slowly toward the earth. At first, Daniel thought it might be a shooting star, but this light was different. It did not streak across the sky. It moved carefully, almost as if it were floating down from the heavens. Curiosity filled him. He wanted to see it closer. He packed his telescope, his heart beating faster with excitement, and began walking toward the direction of the light. The grass felt wet under his shoes, but he didn't care. Every step he took made the light seem larger and brighter. Soon he could see it clearly. It was not a star, nor any human-made object he had ever seen. It glowed with a soft golden light and hovered gently above the ground. Daniel froze. His heart raced, a mix of fear and wonder flooding through him. He had always believed in the possibility of life beyond Earth, but now he was staring at something real, something alive. He wanted to call out, to speak, but his voice felt small in the vast night air. Slowly, carefully, he approached the glowing figure. As he came closer, he saw that it was a young woman. She looked human, yet there was something extraordinary about her. Her hair shimmered like the night sky, with tiny sparks of light that seemed to move like stars. Her eyes were deep and bright, reflecting the universe itself. She wore a long, flowing dress that glowed softly, as if it were made of moonlight. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. He had never seen anyone so beautiful, and yet there was a calmness about her that made him feel safe. The woman noticed him. She tilted her head slightly and smiled, a smile that was gentle and knowing, as if she understood everything in his heart. Daniel's fear melted away. He felt drawn to her in a way he had never felt before. Words seemed useless. Everything he wanted to say was already understood between them. For a few moments, they simply stood there, looking at each other. The world around them, the trees, the grass, the stars, seemed to disappear. All that mattered was the connection they shared. Daniel felt a warmth in his chest, a sense of wonder and joy that he had never experienced. Finally, he whispered almost to himself, "I wish I could marry her." He didn't expect an answer. How could he? She was not from this world, not from any place he knew. But to his astonishment, she looked at him with a soft, radiant gaze and said, "Yes." Daniel's heart leapt. For a moment, he thought he had imagined it. But the smile on her face, the gentle light surrounding her, made it clear. She had heard him. She had understood. And she had answered. He wanted to speak again, to ask questions, to understand how this could be possible. But she simply nodded, as if saying that words were not necessary. Daniel felt a strange calmness wash over him. He didn't understand what was happening, but for the first time in his life he felt truly seen. The night grew darker, but the light around her remained, soft and steady. Daniel realized that this was only the beginning. His ordinary life, the life of quiet streets and simple routines, had changed forever. There was a world beyond his understanding, a world full of wonder, and somehow, he had found a connection that transcended everything he had known. He looked at her again, and she looked back with the same gentle smile. For the first time, Daniel felt hope. He did not know what the future held or how a life with someone from another world could exist. But in that moment, he believed in possibilities. He believed in the impossible. And as he walked back down the hill, the light following him for a few steps before fading into the night, Daniel knew that his life would never be the same. The stars above seemed to shine brighter, as if celebrating his newfound hope. And somewhere in the vast universe, someone extraordinary had heard his wish and had said yes. The next morning, Daniel could hardly think about anything else. The memory of her face, the glow of her presence, and the soft words that had changed his life kept replaying in his mind. He tried to tell himself it might have been a dream, a trick of the night or the stars. But deep inside, he knew it was real. He had felt something extraordinary, something that went beyond the limits of his ordinary life. All day he wandered through town with a distant look in his eyes. His friends noticed it, but when they asked him what was wrong, he shook his head and said, nothing. He couldn't tell them. How could he explain that he had met someone who might not even belong to this world? How could he explain that he had whispered a wish and it had been answered? When evening came, Daniel did what he always did. He climbed the hill carrying his old telescope. He hoped in some quiet part of his heart that she might appear again. The sun dipped behind the hills, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, and the first stars began to twinkle. He set up his telescope and scanned the sky, pretending to look at constellations, but his thoughts were elsewhere. Then, as if she had been waiting, a soft, golden light appeared in the distance. His heart leapt. The glow grew brighter and slowly descended toward the grass. There she was, the young woman who had captured his heart the night before. Her hair shimmered like tiny stars, and her dress flowed as if it were made of light itself. She looked at him and smiled, a smile that was calm and warm, full of understanding. Daniel felt a strange mixture of fear and joy. He wanted to run to her to touch her hand, but he stopped himself. Something told him to move slowly, carefully, and not to rush this miraculous encounter. She took a small step toward him, her presence filling the air with quiet energy. "Hello," Daniel whispered. His voice shook slightly, but he smiled. "Hello," she replied. Her voice was soft like the gentle wind, but it carried a strange music that made his heart beat faster. "I am Liara," she said. "I come from far away." Daniel nodded, his eyes wide. I know. I felt it last night. You are different, but I don't know how or why." Liara's eyes sparkled as she looked at him. "I am here because I found you, Daniel. Your heart, it is open and kind. That is rare where I come from. Most humans cannot see the light inside themselves, but you can." Daniel's chest tightened. He had never heard words like these directed at him. Most people in his town only saw the quiet, ordinary boy who kept to himself. But she saw something more. Something real. For a long time they simply stood and looked at each other. The night around them was quiet, and the stars above seemed to shine just for them. Daniel felt the first spark of courage. He took a small step closer. "Last night, I said something I didn't think would happen. I whispered that I wished I could marry you. And you said yes." Liara tilted her head, her hair glinting in the starlight. "Yes," she said softly. "I heard you. I understood your heart." Daniel's mind spun. He wanted to speak, to ask 100 questions, but he also wanted to stay in this moment forever. He realized that words might not capture what they were feeling. Instead, he simply nodded and smiled, feeling a warmth spread through him that he had never known. "Daniel," Liara said after a pause, "I know this is strange. You may not understand everything now. You may even think I am a dream. But what matters is that we have met. Our hearts, they understand each other." Daniel's voice was barely audible. "But how is this possible? You're from another world. I'm me. I live here in this small town. And you." He gestured to her glowing presence. "You're you." Liara's smile was gentle. "Sometimes the heart does not care about worlds or distances. Sometimes it sees the truth, and that truth is love. That is why I am here." Daniel wanted to laugh and cry at the same time. His whole life had been ordinary, quiet, and predictable. And now it was full of wonder. He had met someone who seemed impossible yet completely real. Someone who understood him better than anyone he had ever known. They sat on the soft grass watching the stars together. Daniel tried to ask questions about her world, about how she had come to Earth, but she would answer only a little. She said it was not time yet to know everything. Some things must be discovered slowly, step by step. Daniel listened, absorbing every word. Even if he did not understand fully, he trusted her. There was a calmness about Liara, a sense that she had seen much and understood much, and yet there was kindness in her eyes, and she treated him as an equal, as someone important. Hours passed like minutes. The town below slept quietly, unaware of the magic on the hill above. Daniel felt a bond growing stronger with every moment. He had never felt so alive. And Liara, with her gentle laughter and glowing presence, seemed to belong to him in a way that was hard to describe. Finally, Liara rose, her light beginning to dim slightly. "It is time for me to go for now," she said. "But I will return, and when I do, we will learn more together." Daniel stood as well, a wave of longing washing over him. "I don't want you to go," he said softly. "You are brave, Daniel," she said, her smile reassuring. "You have a heart that can see beyond the ordinary. That is why I came to you. Remember this. Love is not always about being together every moment. Sometimes it is about knowing that someone understands you, even across distances." Daniel nodded, though he wanted to protest, to hold her close. But he knew she was right. Somehow he trusted her words, and he felt a quiet joy even in her leaving. As Liara's glow faded into the distance, Daniel remained on the hill, staring at the stars. He felt a strange mix of sadness and hope. His ordinary life had changed forever, but it had changed in the most beautiful way. He now knew that the world was larger than he had ever imagined, that the stars held secrets, and that love could exist in ways he had never dreamed. He whispered to himself, "I will see her again. I will find a way." The wind rustled the trees gently as if agreeing with him. And somewhere far away, Liara looked back toward Earth, a soft smile on her face, knowing that Daniel's heart was ready for what was to come. That night, Daniel fell asleep under the stars, dreaming not of ordinary life, but of a future full of wonder, hope, and a love that was extraordinary, even in its impossibility. Days passed, and Daniel found it hard to focus on ordinary life. The memory of Liara, her glowing presence, and her soft smile stayed with him constantly. At school he tried to pay attention to lessons, but his mind wandered to the hill at night, to the stars, and to the impossible reality he had touched. Even when he walked through the town streets, he saw everything in a different light. The trees seemed taller, the wind softer, and the stars brighter in the evening sky. But the world around him reminded him of its ordinary ways. His friends teased him for being distracted. "Daniel, you're daydreaming again," they said. Daniel smiled politely but said nothing. How could he explain that he was thinking of someone who was not from this world? He could not risk anyone thinking he was imagining things, or worse, that he was crazy. That night, Daniel climbed the hill once more. He carried his telescope and a notebook, hoping to write down anything he could remember. As he reached the top, the soft golden light appeared. Liara had come. She descended slowly, her presence filling the hill with warmth. Her eyes sparkled as if she had known he was thinking of her all day. "Hello, Daniel," she said, her voice soft and calm. "Hello, Liara," Daniel replied. I have been thinking about you all day." His heart raced as he spoke. "I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like I have known you forever." Liara smiled. "That is because our hearts understand each other," she said. "Time and distance do not matter here. We can speak without words, Daniel. That is a rare gift." They sat together on the grass, and for a moment everything felt perfect. But soon, Daniel's thoughts turned to the difficulties of their connection. "Liara," he said slowly, I want to be with you, but it's not simple. My life is here. Your life is somewhere I cannot reach. How can this work?" Liara nodded, understanding his worry. "I know, Daniel. This is not easy. Our worlds are very different. Your family, your friends, they cannot see me. And even if they could, they would not understand." Daniel looked down at his hands. "Sometimes I feel like I am living two lives. One with you, full of wonder, and one with everyone else, full of rules and normal life. It's confusing." "It is natural to feel that way," Liara said softly. "Love is not always simple, especially when it crosses boundaries that are larger than we can imagine. But it does not mean it is impossible. It means we must be patient and brave. Daniel sighed, looking up at the stars. I want to be brave. I want to be worthy of you. But some nights I feel like I am failing. I wish I could show everyone who you are, that you are real. But I cannot. Liara reached out and gently touched his hand. The warmth of her touch made Daniel's heart race. Daniel, she said, you do not need to prove me to anyone. What matters is your heart and the truth you carry inside. Our connection is stronger than any doubt. Do not let fear control you. Daniel looked into her eyes and felt a wave of comfort. He wanted to believe her completely, but reality always crept in. School, family, and friends demanded attention. Responsibilities weighed on him. How could someone so extraordinary fit into his ordinary life? He felt torn between two worlds, unable to fully belong to either. That night, as Liara prepared to leave, Daniel whispered, I don't want to lose you. You will not lose me, she replied. Even when I am far, I am with you. Remember that love does not always mean being together in one place. Sometimes it is about understanding and holding someone in your heart no matter the distance. Her words brought comfort, but also sadness. Daniel watched as her glow faded into the night sky, leaving him alone on the hill. He stayed there for a long time, staring at the stars, trying to hold on to the warmth she had given him. In the days that followed, Daniel faced challenges he had never imagined. He felt lonely, even when surrounded by people. Every time he looked at the stars, he longed to see Liara again. At school, he struggled to concentrate. Even simple tasks felt heavy. His teachers noticed his distraction, and his friends grew impatient with him. One evening, Daniel confided in his closest friend, Sarah. I met someone, he said quietly. Someone extraordinary. But they are not from here. I can't explain it fully. Sarah looked at him with concern. Daniel, are you sure you're okay? This sounds unusual. I know it sounds strange, Daniel admitted, but it is real. I can feel it in my heart, and I know I have to be patient. I have to wait for the right time. I don't know how to live with this feeling of missing her. Sarah nodded slowly. She could see the truth in his eyes, even if she could not understand it completely. Then you just hold on to it, she said gently. Sometimes feelings like that are worth the waiting. Daniel smiled faintly. Her words helped, but they could not erase the ache in his heart. He realized that love, especially extraordinary love, was not always easy. It came with challenges, doubts, and long nights of waiting, and yet it was worth every struggle. That night he climbed the hill again. The stars were bright and the world below was quiet. He whispered her name, Liara, and a soft breeze seemed to answer him. Though she was not there yet, he felt her presence in the air, gentle and comforting. He understood now that love was not just about joy and happiness. It was about courage, patience, and hope. He had to face the challenges of his ordinary life while holding on to the extraordinary bond he shared with Liara. As the wind rustled the trees, Daniel promised himself something. He would not give up. No matter how long it took, no matter how impossible it seemed, he would find a way to be with her, or at least carry her in his heart forever. And somewhere, far beyond the sky, Liara looked down at earth, knowing Daniel was learning the strength and patience that their extraordinary love would require. Though the distance was great, their hearts were connected, and that connection would guide them through the struggles that lay ahead. The weeks that followed were not easy for Daniel. He continued his routine at school and at home, but his mind often drifted to Liara. Her presence had changed him in ways he did not fully understand. He noticed little things about himself. He felt braver, more thoughtful, and more aware of the beauty around him. Even ordinary moments began to feel extraordinary, because he carried her in his heart. One evening, Daniel climbed the hill once again, hoping to see Liara. The sky was clear, filled with countless stars that twinkled like distant jewels. He set up his telescope and scanned the heavens as if trying to find her among the vast universe. Then, as if answering his silent call, a soft golden light appeared in the distance. Liara descended slowly, glowing more brightly than before. Her hair sparkled with tiny points of light and her eyes reflected the endless sky. Daniel felt a wave of warmth and calm wash over him, as if the universe itself had embraced him. "Hello, Daniel," Liara said gently. Her voice was like a soft melody filling the quiet hill with peace. "Hello, Liara," Daniel replied. I have been thinking about you every day. I feel different, like I am changing, Liara smiled. Yes, Daniel. You are changing. Every experience, every feeling, every challenge is shaping you. You are learning to see life in ways you could not before. That is part of growing, and part of love. Daniel looked at her, trying to understand. I feel stronger, and yet sometimes afraid. I want to be brave enough to be worthy of you, but I do not know if I am ready. You are ready because you care, Liara said. True courage is not the absence of fear. It is the choice to act despite fear. You are learning that, Daniel. You are learning to be brave in your own way. Daniel nodded, feeling a deep sense of understanding. He realized that their connection was teaching him more than he had ever imagined. He was learning patience, trust, and the power of hope. These lessons were shaping him into a person capable of experiencing something extraordinary. Liara reached out her hand. Come with me, she said softly. Not to leave your world, but to see a place between our worlds. A place where distance and time do not matter. There you will see how strong your heart can be. Daniel hesitated for a moment, fear mixed with excitement. But he trusted her completely. He took her hand, and suddenly, the hill around them seemed to dissolve. The stars became brighter, swirling around them like a river of light. Daniel felt weightless, as if he were floating in a place beyond Earth. The world around him transformed. He found himself in a luminous space that seemed to exist between dimensions. The ground beneath him shimmered with soft light, and the sky above was filled with colors he had never seen. Soft purples, deep blues, and golden streaks that moved like liquid stars. Liara led him through this magical place, her hand warm in his. This is the space between worlds, Liara explained. Here we are free from the rules of ordinary life. Here your heart can understand its true strength. You can see the possibilities without fear. Daniel looked around in awe. It's incredible, he whispered. I have never seen anything like this. It feels alive. Yes, Liara said. It is alive because it is created by the energy of belief, hope, and love. This place reflects what you carry inside your heart. The stronger your heart, the brighter this place becomes. As they walked, Daniel felt something deep within him shift. His doubts, fears, and worries seemed to fade. He realized that he had been holding himself back, letting the ordinary world make him small. But here in this magical space, he saw that he could be brave, kind, and strong. He could love fully and openly, even if the world could not understand. Liara stopped and turned to face him. Daniel, look at yourself, she said. See what you have become. You are stronger than you know because your heart is open. You are learning to trust, to hope, and to love beyond limits. Daniel looked down at his hands and he felt a warmth spread through him. He had never understood what it meant to truly grow. Now he realized it was not about becoming perfect or having no fear. It was about embracing every feeling, every challenge, and letting it shape him into someone capable of extraordinary love. I understand, Daniel whispered. I understand that love and life are not always simple, but they are beautiful even in their challenges. Liara smiled and nodded. Exactly. And you are ready to face your world again. Carrying this understanding with you, you will be different, Daniel. And that is the most important transformation of all. As they held hands, the space around them began to fade. Slowly, the hill appeared beneath their feet again. The stars above shone as brightly as before, but Daniel felt that he had changed. He looked at Liara and she smiled, her glow soft but steady. You are ready, she said. Your heart is strong. And no matter the distance between us, our connection will guide you. Remember, love is not only about being together physically. It is about understanding, trust, and the courage to keep believing. Daniel nodded, feeling a sense of peace and purpose. Thank you, Liara, he said. I will not forget. I will carry this strength in my heart no matter what happens. Liara touched his cheek gently. I know you will, and I will return when the time is right. Until then, your heart will shine brightly, and it will guide you through every challenge. With a final smile, Liara's glow faded into the night sky. Daniel remained on the hill for a long time, staring at the stars. He felt different, stronger, braver, and full of hope. He understood now that extraordinary love required patience, trust, and courage, and he was ready to face whatever life would bring, carrying the lessons of the magical space and the bond he shared with Liara. For the first time, Daniel felt truly transformed. The ordinary world around him seemed less ordinary, filled with possibilities he had never noticed before. He had discovered a strength within himself, a quiet power that could face fear, longing, and uncertainty. And he knew that no matter how impossible things seemed, love and hope could always guide him. That night, as he lay in bed, Daniel looked out his window at the stars. He whispered softly, "I am ready. I will not give up. I will be brave for us." And somewhere far away, Liara looked down at Earth, her eyes shining with pride and warmth. She knew that Daniel had begun a journey of transformation that would prepare him for the extraordinary path they were destined to walk together. The days that followed were quieter for Daniel, yet they were full of meaning. He carried Liara in his heart everywhere he went, in school, on the streets of his small town, and even during the simple routines of home life. His friends noticed a calm confidence in him that had not been there before. Daniel no longer felt completely torn between his ordinary life and the extraordinary bond he shared with Liara. He had learned to carry both worlds inside him, blending courage, hope, and love into everything he did. One evening, Daniel climbed the hill once more, though he had learned to see Liara not only in the glowing night but also in the quiet moments of his life. The stars shone bright, and the cool breeze moved through the trees. He set up his telescope, not just to look at the sky but to feel connected to the universe that had brought Liara to him. As if answering his unspoken thoughts, a soft golden glow appeared in the distance. Liara descended slowly, her presence lighting the hill like the gentle warmth of sunrise. Daniel felt a wave of happiness and relief. He had grown stronger, and yet seeing her now filled him with excitement, just as it had the first night. "Hello, Daniel," Liara said, her voice calm and bright. "Hello, Liara," Daniel replied, smiling. I have been waiting for this moment. I have learned so much, and I feel..." "Ready?" Liara's eyes sparkled. "Ready for what, Daniel?" "To understand our love fully," he said. "To live with it in my heart, and to face the challenges that life brings. I know we may not always be together physically, but I am ready to carry our bond everywhere I go." Liara smiled, touched by his words. "You have learned well, Daniel. You have grown in ways that even your world cannot see. That is the true power of love. It changes us from the inside, preparing us for every moment, every choice, every challenge." They sat together on the soft grass, watching the stars in silence. For a long time, no words were needed. Daniel realized that life was a balance between ordinary moments and extraordinary experiences. He could face school, responsibilities, and challenges, and still carry the love and magic Liara had shown him. "Daniel," Liara said after a pause, "there is something I want you to understand. Our bond is special, and it will guide you even when we are apart. But there is one more truth you must see. Love is not about needing someone constantly. It is about trusting, believing, and allowing each other to grow." Daniel nodded slowly, taking in her words. "I understand," he said. "Even when we are apart, I will trust our connection. I will believe in it no matter what." Liara reached out and gently touched his hand. "Good," she said. "Because one day, when the right time comes, our worlds may meet in ways you cannot yet imagine. But until then, you must live fully, and carry me in your heart with courage." Daniel looked up at the stars. "I will," he whispered. "I will live fully, and I will never forget you." Liara's glow began to fade slowly, the soft golden light blending with the stars above. "And I will never forget you, Daniel," she said. "Our connection is eternal, beyond time and distance. Remember that always." As the light disappeared completely, Daniel felt a quiet strength in his heart. He no longer felt fear or sadness at the thought of her leaving. Instead, he felt hope, courage, and an understanding that love was not limited by physical presence. He had been transformed, and now he knew how to live fully, carrying extraordinary love within him. The following days were different for Daniel. School felt lighter, chores felt easier, and even the small conversations with friends and family held new meaning. He no longer envied others for what they had. Instead, he cherished the extraordinary connection he had experienced. Every time he looked at the stars, he felt Liara's presence, a gentle warmth that guided him through the ordinary moments of life. One night, Daniel found himself standing outside his house looking up at the sky. The stars were bright, shining like diamonds scattered across the universe. He whispered softly, "I will be brave. I will live fully. And I will keep you in my heart, always." A soft breeze moved through the trees, and Daniel imagined Liara smiling down at him. Though he could not see her, he felt her presence clearly. a reminder of the bond that had changed his life. The ordinary world around him, the streets, the trees, the small houses, now seemed full of possibility. He had discovered that extraordinary love could exist even in an ordinary life. Over time, Daniel shared his story with no one. He knew that most people could not understand, and that was fine. The love he carried was private, sacred, and real. It did not need validation from others. It only needed to live in his heart. And in that private space, it gave him strength, courage, and joy. Seasons passed, and Daniel continued to grow. He worked hard, studied diligently, and remained kind and thoughtful toward others. But every night he returned to the hill, sometimes to see Liara, and sometimes simply to be under the stars, feeling her presence and remembering the lessons she had taught him. Each night reminded him that life was full of wonder, and that love, even when separated by worlds, could transform a person completely. Years later, Daniel often reflected on the magical moments with Liara. He realized that she had not only shown him love but had also helped him discover himself. He had learned patience, trust, courage, and hope. Most importantly, he had learned that love was not about possession or constant presence. It was about understanding, connection, and the quiet strength of believing in something extraordinary. One evening, as Daniel lay on the hill staring at the stars, he whispered once more, "I will always love you, Liara. No matter where you are, no matter how far, you are in my heart, far away." Under a different sky, Liara looked toward Earth, her eyes shining with warmth and pride. She knew that Daniel had grown into the person he was meant to be. Their bond had endured time, distance, and doubt. And though the worlds remained separate, their hearts were forever connected. Daniel smiled, feeling a peace he had never known before. Life was no longer just ordinary. It was full of magic, hope, and love. And even if he never fully understood the mysteries of Liara's world, he knew one truth clearly: love in its purest form transcends all boundaries. As the stars twinkled above, Daniel felt the quiet certainty that he and Liara had shared something rare and extraordinary. It had changed him, strengthened him, and prepared him for the journey of life. And in that moment, he knew that no matter what the future held, their connection would remain, shining brightly like the stars above, eternal and unbroken.